With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Miller, joined as always by my co-host, Corey Kinnan, and usually a cup of coffee. This is decaf. It is 8:30 p.m. for me. My cousin-in-law is leaving tomorrow morning, so we will be getting, I assume, some more morning recordings coming up again for me and late night recordings for Corey, because that's kind of what we prefer anyways, and that's kind of what my sleep schedule looks like anyways. So I enjoy it. It lets me get to bed a little bit earlier, which I enjoy as well. But we're going to talk about quarterbacks today. And specifically, we're going to talk about fourth year and up quarterbacks who we think, if you squint, could be NFL players, because there are a few very fun college football players in this upcoming class. Diego Pavia is not an NFL quarterback. As much as I would love to talk about him, he is not an NFL quarterback. So we are going to talk about the guys who we see with NFL futures. But first, I have to ask, Corey, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Any day to talk quarterbacks is a good day with me. Sometimes I think I'm a little too quarterback heavy, so I'm trying on my Substack at least to be able to focus on some other positions for a little bit. But anytime I can talk about some quarterbacks, I'm down to talk about some quarterbacks.
Yeah, and let's start off hot. Let's start off with one of the big teams in college football. Unfortunately, I will never ever. Listen, guys, I'm an objective observer of the players of college football. I do not root for teams. I root against Clemson, and I root against Clemson because of Dabo. Just straight up, it just is what it is. I won't hide from that ever. But I will always root for the players, and I root for Cade Klubnik because Cade Klubnik is a phenomenal athlete with a good arm, and he really, really showed strides last year. Corey, what was his charting like for you?
Yeah, charting wise, he's about middle of the road in the class, which is kind of where I thought he'd come in.
Yeah, and with his athleticism, it definitely makes up for it a little bit as well.
Yeah, for sure. So he came in with like a 63%. So honestly, right around average, a little bit below average, which is kind of where I anticipated it coming in. But again, he was a 5-star number one player in his class for a reason. The dude's toolsed out. I mean, he's tall, so it doesn't really look like it sometimes when he's running, but I bet that dude runs a 4.5. I bet he runs a 4.5 when he's got the football in his hands. He can move. Again, he's got a really good arm. I wouldn't put it in the elite tier in terms of arm talent.
Yeah,
but he's got a really good arm.
I wanted to bring that up real quick. Who in this class does?
I mean, Sellers.
That's it, right?
I think Mendoza also has a really good arm. I don't think I'd put it in the elite tier.
No.
But Sellers is probably Arch, and even Arch. I think Arch would go in the really good arm too. Aller would go in the elite arm, I think. But that's pretty much, we'll talk about it, but that's pretty much all Aller is to me, though, is an elite arm. And then, so I think, probably Klubnik, Aller. I think Nico Iamaleava has those tools in this class, but I bet he's a 2027 guy to the core.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sellers.
Yeah. But with Cade, what do you think? I mean, obviously, after this year, you would hope that he would chart a little bit better than average. But what do you need to see from him to legitimately kind of snatch this QB1 runway? Because there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot going on in this class, and there's no, for me, true front runners in it right now. And so, what does he need to do to kind of get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. His growth has been really linear from the time he took over for DJU as a true freshman to, his sophomore season was about as ugly as it could get for a 5-star recruit. It was ugly. So last year was definitely a huge step forward, and that growth has been linear. So I think as long as we can see another step forward in that linear projection, there's no reason. And this is worth talking about too. it's very rare, especially with the transfer portal, that we get a guy, a 4-year starter in the same, but not same. I mean, Garrett Riley took over play calling, but in the same system, same ecosystem, developing in that same way. So I think that's a benefit to him heading to the NFL as well. Just take another stride. And what that stride looks like to me is like, I just want to see efficient football. Like, he does so many things where it's like, oh yeah, I'm buying in. And then there's like a one play stretch where his brain goes off and it's like, why did you do that? And then like he'll hit like a few more plays and it's like, oh yeah, I'm ready to buy in. And then it's like the brain shuts off again. And it's like, why did you do that? So he always has like those like there's like the devil on his shoulder is always tempting him to like be careless with the football, to do something reckless, to try to make a big play and do something reckless. And I think as long as he can swat that devil off a little bit more consistently this year, I think he's on the right path. He's definitely on the right path. I think Garrett Riley has his eyes working a lot more than it did in 2023. So 2024, I saw a lot more. I could understand his process a lot more in 2024, where his eyes were looking pre-snap to post-snap. But again, I just need him to swat that devil off the shoulder every once in a while, a little bit more in 2025.
So I'm going to bring up two guys in one here, but we're going to start off talking legitimately about Fernando Mendoza. I brought this up to you after the podcast that we recorded yesterday. I would rather him never run. And when we talk about, because when you brought him up to me, and I think this is partially your fault, you talked about the athleticism that he possesses. And while I do believe that he does possess the kind of athleticism that you saw from like a Tom Brady in the pocket or a Joe Burrow in the pocket where they're able to kind of maneuver around pressure and get away from that, he is a terrible runner. And when I look at like between him and Drew Aller is a far inferior athlete just on the hoof. He's a much more efficient runner, a much more effective runner. And at 250 pounds, he's a load to bring down as well. So I would rather him with the ball in his hands moving than Fernando Mendoza. And that takes away a little bit of his ceiling for me personally. Now, how good can he get, or how much can he progress as a passer is where it kind of comes down to me. But then again, at the same time, when I watch him, I see some of the fluttering issues when he is on the hoof. I see a good arm, but then I see some careless decisions, specifically in the Pitt game and in the Miami game and in the Syracuse game, where he just completely misread the leverage of the inside linebacker and threw a pick right to him. And he was kind of coming from backside. He was trying to look guys off and just was careless with the football. I think when I watch him, there's a lot of disadvantages to that offense, which make it difficult to really judge him well. But again, at the end of the day, I struggle with him a little bit because I look at him and I see Connor Weigman in him, where he is willing to stand in there and take shots. And then when he runs, all he tries to do is Jaden Daniels his way to the hospital. Like Jaden Daniels trying to hurdle in the middle of the pile and getting pile driven down to the ground in that game in his senior season. Like that's what I see far too often from Mendoza, who is also not a thick boy, we'll say. And when I watch him move, I see a more athletic Peyton Manning as an athlete. Like he's an awkward runner. And I just don't see the dual threat that I am seeing from almost every single competent to above competent NFL quarterback these days.
I think that's fair. He's definitely not. I think he's dual threat in the way that like CJ Stroud is dual threat. But it's like the opposite ends of those spectrums where like CJ didn't want to run and Fernando does, but I think they're the same kind of dual threat where like when their timer asks for it. I don't see Fernando being overly eager
No,
to dip.
no, not at all.
I actually think his timer is really awesome. I think his internal timer is really awesome. And his sense of pressure is really awesome, even though the sack numbers are what they are. I mean, watch that Cal right tackle and then come back to me on that one a little bit.
Yeah.
But I see his desire to get out and move out of necessity, out of like, okay, time's up, gotta go. Is he a little reckless? Yeah, because he's also 6'5", so his ribs are very exposed. They're very central.
Well, yeah, and it's just the way that he runs too.
Yeah.
Like he runs straight up and exposes himself to way too much contact.
I bet he's like a high 4'6", low 4'7" athlete though. Like I don't think he's like a bad athlete. I think like a 4'7" is probably somewhere around there is where I'd kind of put him a little bit. But what I like the most about Mendoza, and again, I'm a purist in this regard, is like I want to see quarterbacks like from the pocket find the solutions they need to find, and I can consistently see him and can consistently see the thought process of how he found that solution. Like that's it. To the extent where like I don't know how often I saw it from a single quarterback this past class, where it's like your pre-snap recognition, like what you see pre-snap isn't there post-snap. How quickly can you find that solution? Mendoza's got it. I don't know if you watched the NC State game. One of my favorite quarterbacking games this summer, probably my favorite quarterbacking game this summer, probably my favorite quarterbacking game I've watched in a calendar year. Just like 3-by-1 man coverage 0, like zero man, and he's bailing on play side and just throwing the backside post. Like he sees it as soon as he snaps the ball and he just flips his hips and throws the backside post. Like those sorts of like on time creative solutions are little, but like they mean a whole lot. Counting guys in the box versus the amount of guys that you have in protection and knowing which guy's yours and getting the ball out, anticipating that guy's coming in at your ribs and getting the ball out. Like those sorts of things are things that I didn't see a lot of out of this last class that immediately I saw from him.
I think it also helps that he knows no matter how many blockers he has, somebody is going to be running free. So he knows.
That's fair.
You talk about his timer being good, but his timer is just an auto timer because he knows.
It kind of is.
They're so bad that there's such a lack of connectivity on that front line. It's terrible.
And the concepts drive me crazy. There's a lot of 2-man, 3-man concepts with absolutely no easy button for him to find. So I'm
really excited like for him to have an easy
shots. And there's really no chipping out. There's no.
I'm really excited for him in this offense. I am really excited for him.
We saw the chasms that Curtis Rourke had to throw into this past season. The chasms that Rourke was able to throw into, and then Rourke did a really good job of finding those backside answers, those backside avenues as well.
Yeah.
When he had to flip off of play side, and so I think we're set up here for Mendoza to have a really awesome season. And then on top of that, like going back to my charting data, like he's by far the most accurate quarterback I've charted this offseason. And if you watch that translates to the tape.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely will give him when I was watching him. I don't think that his arm is super like free flowy around the line of scrimmage. I think that there's a lot of missed opportunities when it comes to yards after the catch, when it comes to those quick screenplays, whether it be out in, it seems like he misses those, but every like real quarterback throw, especially from the pocket, is really, really good. I mean, some of those post throws, some of those seam throws that he has are outrageous. And he has, like you said, like I don't think he has an elite arm, but his arm is definitely in that plus category, and that's all you really need.
Yeah. Did you see in the Pitt game? It was 3rd and 15, and he threw that backside glance.
Yes.
Like just absolutely ripped it on 3rd and 15. Just, like that. Those are the throws. It's like, yep, this guy saw it. He knows that he picked it up and he threw it. Like,
yep.
To me, it's like.
But also it's like is some of that premeditated off of the pre-snap look, because I think that's the exact same look he was trying to get against Syracuse, and he threw a really, really ugly pick to it. So
yeah, but you can see the process though. Like
yeah.
If you get bit by a robber, you get bit by a robber. It's not like we'll talk about Carson Beck, but like Carson Beck continuously throws the ball right into the robber's chest, like continuously, like sees it and throws it, sees it. Like, so I don't see that. Like, I can at least see a solution, or like I could see like a math equation, show your work. I can at least see the work that he showed to like, he threw the pick, but you know what I'm saying? To me, he's got a little Flacco in him, like a little prime Flacco, like young.
Yeah.
Flacco. Yeah.
Yeah, it runs like him too. Yeah.
He
Totally
does.
agree.
Yeah.
I totally
I
agree.
mean, if you remember Joe Flacco's first NFL game as a rookie, he had like a boot that he ran for a 30-yard touchdown on a naked boot.
I mean, we've seen Peyton Manning run the football too. It's just,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna be. I mean, I've pounded the table since the Monday after the draft, so I've got no reason to back off now. Which upperclassman? Probably Nussmeier. You want to move to Nussmeier?
Yeah, Nussy's fun, man.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine to me. The arm is fun. The arm is very fun. The pocket work is fun. There's so much for me for him that breaks down though when something is rotated out from what he's given pre-snap.
He's also a psycho.
When there's sim pressure, or like when a safety rotates out, either rotates back or rotates up, he like almost freezes. The second half of that Texas A&M game, Texas A&M threw the kitchen sink at him and he had no answers at all. Like, he couldn't pick it up. He couldn't see it. It's pretty ugly. And again, at the end of the day, like, he's not a very good athlete either. And his body type is very weird. Like, he's Mac Jones almost in his body type.
That's when people were talking about the first round talk, I was like, he's like 6'1", 195. He's not a big dude.
Yeah, 6'1", 210 is what he's listed at. Yeah.
I'd be surprised
and like
if he was 210.
And like a pudgy body type too.
I'd be surprised if he was
not.
210.
Yeah.
But he's honestly, he's kind of just Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately in most ways, because Tony Romo is like 6'1", 210 and kind of pudgy. Always has been. Like, kind of a psychopath. Like, really, like a pocket wizard, but not a great athlete overall. Like that. I mean, Tony was a pretty good athlete, but really good basketball player too, and a phenomenal golfer. But I think when I look at Nussmeier and I look at Aller, I'm 100% betting on Aller and the tools. I am, man. I am. It's ugly a lot of the time.
It's downright
when
awful.
we're talking about, but when we're talking about quarterback, it's a little bit different. For me, there's no middle ground. There's no low level. There's no contributor at the quarterback position. You are the guy, and I need you to be the guy. And I don't know if Nussmeier can be the guy. And Drew Aller on tape right now cannot be the guy. But he's got the tools to be the guy. And that's what you have to bank on over the summer.
Yeah. Perhaps over the summer, but like, we're talking about year 3 now as a starting quarterback. Where Nussmeier, he's going to be 24. He's an older guy, but like that was technically his first year starting. I have to see your floor though. Like, yeah, Aller has the highest floor out of anybody not named Sellers, probably in the class. Or the highest ceiling out of everybody not named Sellers in the class. But he probably also has the lowest floor of any of these guys in the class too. I really struggle with Aller. I struggle with Nussmeier too, but at least with Nussmeier, I see the floor, and the floor is good. The floor is good.
What's your problem with Aller specifically?
Oh, I think he's wildly inaccurate.
Yes.
Like wildly inaccurate. I don't think he always understands what he's seeing. I think technically, mechanically, he's a mess in his lower half. So like things that I think that he probably should have picked up from either an independent quarterback coach, which he's seen since he was a freshman in high school, and he still hasn't mastered like the mechanical stuff. which that's not stuff that you're going to see a quarterback coach at the college or NFL level coach. Like, you're either good enough or you're not at that point. They want to win games. They're not there to develop you. That's what your independent coach is for, right? So like when that stuff still looks really rough, that's when I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Who does he work with?
I know the answer to this question. It's a guy from Northeast Ohio. Give me 1 second. I can pull it up in 2 minutes. QB Accelerate, a guy named Brad from QB Accelerate, located in Northeast Ohio. He's worked with him since he was in high school.
Sometimes it's time for a change.
I agree. And that could unlock something new if he were to go to some place like the QB Collective or Jordan Palmer or something like that. Yeah. So it might be time for a move like that for Aller for sure. While we're on the subject of these two guys, I've charted 10 quarterbacks this quarterback class already. Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, the two lowest accuracy scores from this class that I've charted.
I'm kind of surprised about that with Nussmeier.
His deep ball was really bad for most of the season. And again, a lot of that could be Chris Hilton was out a lot of the season. And then Chris Hilton came back late in the season, who is like his primary deep threat. And, now they transferred in Barryon Brown and Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, and Chris Hilton stayed in school and didn't transfer out. So like the weapons are there for him to have a Heisman candidacy season, like a Mac Jones level season that Mac Jones had in 2020, where Devontae Smith ended up winning the Heisman. But like, that's the kind of season Nussmeier could be set up to have here. But yeah, the numbers weren't very pretty in terms of what he was able to do with the football last year.
Carson Beck.
Is there anything to talk about with Carson Beck? Like, this is where I'm at. He was bad. The tools are mid to less than mid. Like the arm is mid, and then the athleticism is less than, in my opinion, or maybe mid. Maybe I can just be mid. And then you're throwing him into an air raid offense that he very much does not fit in. Like, what do we have to talk about with Carson Beck?
Yeah, I think what made him so palatable for people was the wit that he showed, because I thought he was a pretty NFL ready guy. The issue is, I think that he listened to everybody in the offseason say, you have to be the guy, you have to be more of a playmaker, and he went out and did the same thing that Mac Jones tried to do, which was get out of who you are as a bus driver and try to become an Indy 500 champ. Like, it's just, you don't have the facilities for that, my guy.
Yeah.
And I think that was the problem. He tried to get out over his skis. He tried to do way too much. And I think that if he just plays within himself, he has enough, because like you said, he's mid athleticism, mid arm. But I think that they're NFL mid. Like, I think he's a below average athlete in the NFL, even for a quarterback. Yeah. But I think the arm is average to good enough. I mean, I think it's definitely good enough. And I think even in the bad times last year, we saw some really good flashes. The flashes were just unfortunately far, far outweighed by the atrocious decision-making that we saw far too often that we hadn't seen in the past. And so, yeah, for me, I mean, we're talking about a backup, but
like day 3 guy.
Yeah. And coming off of the injury, that's the problem. Coming off of that injury, where he already had a middling arm.
And the amount of Snapchats that he sent last season where he's like, why am I playing football? It's also a little concerning. Oh, there's like so many, like, hit me with your car so I don't have to play football anymore, and like stuff like that. He's sending to people that got leaked out, just like, yeah. But he's getting $4 million this year from Miami, so I wouldn't turn that down either.
No.
Good choice to go back to school. Yeah.
Let's quickly bring up some of these other guys here. Taylor Green, that He's a football player for the Arkansas Razorbacks. John Mateer, I'm really excited for. No, Jalen Green, really good athlete, really, really slippery behind the line of scrimmage. Can make guys miss at a very high level. I don't know if you charted him. I'm assuming that you didn't because he wasn't a part of, or he wasn't at the bottom of your accuracy list. But he would be.
There are some guys that I just tagged with like a 3 and out where I watched 3 games and I said that's enough for me until
yeah.
one of those guys.
John Mateer, did you watch him?
I haven't yet.
Mateer's fun. Mateer is for me. Mateer is a lot of fun. I'm very excited about him at Oklahoma. Again, really good athlete. I like his arm. Inconsistent, but not awfully inconsistent like Green was. And so I am excited for him at Oklahoma to see what he can bring to that team. Weigman, I mean, just be on the field and be healthy, and let's see what you got, brother.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about Connor Weigman until he stays on the field.
Exactly.
It's been 3 years now of this. One guy that we haven't talked about even off air that a lot of people love in this class and are hyping up, Baylor's Sawyer Robertson. Have you checked out Sawyer yet?
No, I haven't.
I don't understand a lot of. I mean, I do. He took over that offense and they started to win games and stuff. So from a production perspective, I kind of get it. But to me, he's got like a very mid arm. He's a decent athlete, but he's a big body with a very mid arm. And then I don't trust his decision making very much. And I see people saying he's got a big arm, and I don't see it at all. Honestly, I see like a Mason Rudolph arm, to be honest, like a Will Howard, Mason Rudolph level arm.
Well, if you talk to Kurt Benkirk, my doppelganger, he will tell you that Mason Rudolph has a huge arm.
Yeah, well,
hey, he was an NFL quarterback.
That's interesting. And I think that like Sawyer just lives on his toes, and that's like I don't love that from a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he lives on his toes. And
I don't like toes with quarterbacks.
He gives me anxiety watching him play. Like, he's constantly living in flight or fright, or like fight or flight. Or like he's always like very jittery, like always like he just chugged a Red Bull and then went out and took a snap. Like, I don't love it. I don't love it. Like, to me, that's a day 3 guy, and that's fine. Could play himself into day 2 maybe, but like tools wise, decision making wise, to me that's a day 3 guy.
Yeah. Fun college quarterbacks who, if you squint, you can see him playing in the NFL. Jalen Daniels.
What's the comparison for him at a pro level?
What's his name? Backup for Baltimore. Was the backup for Baltimore. Yeah.
Tyler Huntley?
Huntley-ish.
Dorian Thompson like.
Kevin Jennings is another one.
Fun college quarterback.
Kind of
not a great arm.
Weaker arm, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Byron Brown is a phenomenal athlete.
He is.
Phenomenal. That dude is really, really disgusting. Maxwell Ward watch list, Watercamp watch list, Davey O'Brien watch list. He's on all of the watch lists this year. He is
only 20 years old.
Uber duper productive, 20 years old, but he's a senior, or a redshirt junior. He's already got a ton of records at USF in 2023 because he didn't play most of the year last year. In 2023, he had USF's first 3,000 yard season passing, and I think he's got the tools. What I will say is his listed 6'3", 230. I would find, unless he is packing just some absolute density that I can't see, I would be shocked if he was anything over 215, because he is not a like widely built guy or a particularly thickly built guy. He kind of reminds me his build of a Jaden Daniels, who we know is not a big dude. So right. he's fun. man, he's a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun to watch in that Alabama game, but he's also a guy who, because of his running, is going to take a lot of shots.
He is. Does it ever give you pause when a guy that we're talking about is like, oh yeah, this guy's a lot of fun, this guy could be a guy, doesn't transfer out from a school like South Florida in the image of college football? To me, they're like, well, then why didn't he leave and go somewhere?
Well, he only played like 5. He only played like 4 or 5 games last year, so there just might not have been much of a market for him.
It could be fair.
I don't know. I don't know the story behind it, but yeah, I mean, in this day and age, absolutely, I think you have to look at that. But like, Harold Fannin was one of the most productive college football players in the world, and he stayed at Bowling Green. I mean, everybody has their own motives as well, and maybe USF somehow scrounged up a bunch of money for him. I don't know. But then there's the, like, I could see you being an NFL backup, and those guys are like Luke Altmaier, Mark Gronowski. Luke Altmaier, first of all, from Illinois. Gronowski was it North Dakota State or South Dakota State? Can't remember which one. South Dakota State, I believe. Or was it South Dakota? All those Dakota teams.
South Dakota State.
Yeah, all those Dakota temes screw me up. He was the blue and white.
Yeah, the Jackrabbits. Yeah.
Or the blue and yellow and white.
Yellow, yeah.
And then I had another one, didn't I? Yeah, Joey Aguilar, who is going to be playing at Tennessee this year. And so weird offense for him. Weird offense, because I think we're used to the big arm at this point being in Tennessee, and that is something that he definitely does not have. But get him. He's a good athlete. He's a pretty good athlete. He can move. And so I'm really excited to see if his decision making in that offense is just absolutely automatic, and he can produce buku numbers because of that and make his way into day 3 because of it.
Yeah, we'll see. What year is he? Is he a 5th year?
Yeah, 5th or 6th. He's older.
Jeez. Yeah. Wild ride for him. Transferring to UCLA, and then Nico transfers to UCLA, and he's like, all right, I got to get out of here.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was a JUCO kid before he even went to App State. So, yeah, he's been around for a while. Yeah. Should be some interesting guys. And again, there's always like 1 or 2.
Yeah, is there anybody for you that kind of stands out?
I mean, like, as a guy that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyron Drones has a good arm, and he's a good athlete at Virginia Tech. In terms of upperclassmen. Again, we'll hit underclassmen tomorrow, so I don't want to talk about any underclassmen.
Yeah,
but
no.
Kyron Drones is maybe the one that kind of sticks out to me, but he just wasn't very good last year.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really sell me on these like smaller arm, like the noodle arm guys like Miller Moss. Like, I've had enough Miller Moss discourse. I think I've had enough. Noah Fafita doesn't have a weenie arm, but like I've had enough Noah Fafita discourse. Maybe Avery Johnson. He's a little wild, but he's got tools. Yeah.
Not somebody I have watched, but we will talk about the young guys tomorrow.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And that'll conclude our quarterback primer for the week. So that's a good way to round this thing out.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a good way to round it out. We will get it all in, get it all out, talk about our quarterbacks, get on out of there. Are we going to talk about Arch at all?
I mean, we probably should spend at least 2 minutes on him, but I would be shocked if he was a 2026 guy.
Yeah.
Again, unless he goes out and he like has the best season possible and wins a Heisman. So.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
This sounds good. We will talk about him then.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's all I've got, man. I think that's a solid 34 minutes in. Let's get on out of here.
let's get on out of here, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the button, watch us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify. We're out there. Corey's got his
We're doing
Substack
the
going.
thing. Yeah.
I got my Patreon going. We are doing the darn thing. I'm cutting up. I just got done with Taylor Green. And I'm going to, yeah, God bless my soul is correct. I did Auburn special teams the other day. That was a fun request.
Somebody asked for that?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then I'm going to be doing Bray Hubbard passing downs against Tennessee, Missouri, and OU.
All right.
Request, baby.
Sounds good. Love it.
And as always, guys, I love you.